This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the preacher man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the preacher man.
Well, welcome today to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man. I tell you, I'm excited today. Man, I got the Bishop with me today. You know, Bishop did a couple segments with me last year when Shanan had to, do something. So Shanan doing something. Shanan always doing something. He'll he'll say he out there checking traffic. He out here doing that. He out there. I can tell you one thing. He out there doing something.
I get so hard on Shanan all the time.
I'm not hard on Shanan. This is straight talk.
well, I will say this. I thank God for Shanan. Yeah. Because since Shanan and you got tight, now you don't be fussing and cussing at me all the time. So Shanan, I appreciate you, man. You're a brother indeed. Thank you. You got him off my back.
Not quite. You did a T-nice bit, but not quite. But anyway, but we have an exciting program for you today, Bishop and I. Miss C is going to do her thing. The program is a little different today. We won't have Black History Fact. This program is going to focus on what's happening in our school system with our teachers, our educators, and with students.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking to the attorney, Alan Lightcamp, who is the attorney for Kenneth Miller, who is the coach at Tri-City High School, who was actually fired for saving lives of kids there at Tri-Cities on that day. Because a kid hit him and then he defended himself, then he was fired. So we're gonna hear from his attorney, we're gonna hear from Kenneth. Then we're gonna also look at what happened in Washington State at a school where a young man came in, killed a kid, then shot and wounded some other kids, and a janitor accosted him, held him until the officers came. There was no arrest, there was no anything of the janitor, only praises for being a hero. And we have Mr. Miller, who's been seen as a villain for saving lives. And then we have this janitor who was praised for saving lives. We'll be right back on the other side with more Straight Talk with yours to the Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Bishop Aaron B. Lackey. Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute or more news blast. Hey, Greg. Hey, Shanan. So good to see y'all today. Hope you're well. Okay, let's get started. The Red Cross really needs your help. Blood supplies are dangerously low. Donated blood has many uses, such as for people with various illnesses and diseases that require frequent blood transfusions. There are accident victims, major surgeries, and a lot more. There are so many ways that you can help the Red Cross. And you can sponsor a blood drive at work, at church, in your neighborhood. You can donate money, you can donate blood, you can volunteer. Now, to get more details, visit the Red Cross website, that's redcrossblood.org, or you can give them a call at 404-876-3302. I'm trying not to look at my paper because you remember a couple of weeks ago, Greg didn't want me to look down. So anyway, if you see me looking like this, that's because I don't want to look down. There's free tax preparation being offered at Turner Chapel AME Church. It's going to be offered now through April 30th. And due to COVID, you have to drop off your information or go through a virtual process. To get started, call 678-285-1670, extension 1910. That's 678-285-1670, extension 1910. Turner Chapel AME also invites you to worship with them each Sunday. They're located at 492 North Marietta Parkway in Marietta. To get all the details, log on to turnerchapelame.org or call them at 770-422-6791. The pastor is Taryue Bright. He's senior servant. Liberty International Ministries, where our own Greg Fann, the preacher man, pastors, located at 1362 Metropolitan Parkway in Southwest Atlanta, welcomes you each Sunday at 10 a.m., either in person or virtually. And they also invite you to Bible study on Wednesdays at 7, and it's called At the Kitchen Table. I like that. At the kitchen table. You know, so many things when I was growing up happened at the kitchen table. That's where my grandmother entertained. That's where we ate, you know, received visitors. We did everything at the kitchen table. Gossip, whatever they were doing. I was too young to gossip. I just kind of, you know, listened in. But anyway, everything happened at the kitchen table. And call Liberty International if you want more information at 404-756-7546. Or you can email Liberty International at libertychurch1362@gmail.com. All right. The SMDO22 is about to happen. That's the South Metro Development Outlook Conference. It will be held March 29th. The host will be Michael Hightower. He's managing partner and host. To register, log on to smdoconference.com. And they're going to have some very distinguished speakers there. Senator John Ossoff and Senator Raphael Warnock, Mayor Andre Dickens, Mayor of Atlanta, Congresswoman Nikema Williams, Chairwoman Lisa Cupid, Chairwoman Nicole Hendrickson, Mayor Vince Williams of Union City, and Chairman Michael Marty Turpo. Now, if you'd like to take part in the SMDO22 conference going on March 29th, go to their website, smdoconference.com. Okay, listen, there's a button on your screen that says subscribe. If you would press that little button and also press the button to like us, we would truly appreciate it. And it'll be a good thing that you do for us. Okay, now, we'd like to do something for you. If you'd like for us to announce your event, send it to us at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's Straight Talk News. Be sure to spell it all out. Straight Talk News 1362@gmail.com. Now, if you missed any of this, you can just rewind or replay it, and you can get all the good news. Now, I must warn you that images of Greg will reappear, so be ready. Bye.
Well, we're here today, right here on Straight Talk, with a situation that we feel that should be addressed, and that is the firing of a coach, a lifelong coach at Tri-Cities High School, who did what he felt was the right thing to do in terms of protecting the students there at his school, where he was a coach. And we're talking about Coach Kenneth Miller and his lawyer, Alan Lightcamp. Glad to have you guys with us today here on Straight Talk with myself and Bishop Aaron the Acting Senior. So let's talk about what's going on.
Good morning, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
So just want to talk a little bit what's going on with the situation. We have observed, through videos, and we've seen some things that, we don't think that the coach is being treated fairly. And I know you as an attorney and you're addressing the legal matter, but I want to hear from you, and then I want to hear from Kenny.
Well, that's great, and I appreciate you having us on because this is such an important case. It's hard to overstate the threat of gun violence and other types of violence that our students and teachers are subjected to. It's sad that you almost feel more safe. School is one of the places where you kind of expect gun violence to happen, and that's a sad reality. I mean, we all know that. And this is a case where Coach Miller found 2 loaded guns at Tri-Cities. And the reason he found them is he was put in charge by the principal to respond to an ongoing crisis. There's no crisis that I can imagine for a teacher that is more immediate and dangerous than we have guns at the school, can you come help and find them? And that's what he did. And we'll talk about why they tried to terminate him. We'll talk about why they are now trying to suspend him. But the first thing that I want coming out of my mouth is the reality of how dangerous that day was for Coach Miller and how he stepped up to the plate and said, I will protect these kids. I will go find the gun. I will save the day. And that's what he did. And the reason we don't know August 20th, 2021 as another tragedy is because he and the rest of the school, and it wasn't just him, because the school resource officers and the other teachers and educators and professionals around, they helped too. But Ken is the one, Coach Miller is the one who took the lead. And he did save the day from 2 loaded guns. Now, regarding the incident, the young lady who attacked him is one of the students who brought a gun. So when he gets attacked, and I know I've been speaking a long time, but
you have opportunity to let people know, because people see the video and they saw the reaction of the young lady. They saw her slapping the phone out of his hand, which she touched him. She was aggressive. She touched him, and we saw all of that. So you go on.
Then let me give a little bit more context, because it's, at that point, it's so important to know what Coach Miller and the others in the room knew at that time. They knew that she had a gun. They had seen pictures of her holding several guns. They knew she had a gun that day, but they didn't know where it was. They thought that she had passed it to a friend, and they had a picture of a hallway camera where they believe that this girl passed the gun, and it turns out she did, because they found it in that bag, by the way. But they thought that she had passed the gun, but they did not know that she had passed the gun. That's why you just can't get around the omnipresent danger of a loaded gun when you're looking in that room. So when she slaps him, they're like, I don't know where the gun is. And if you look at what he does by just pushing her away from him, that showed incredible strength of character and restraint in the moment. He just pushes her away. A student who attacks a teacher here in the year of our Lord 2022, a student is on video slapping a teacher. And Coach Miller just pushes her away. He doesn't strike her. He doesn't even injure her. She's fine. And that's the type of, in-the-moment composure and leadership that you actually want. Now, what's even more fascinating about this, y'all, is when we went to trial on this case, I didn't know what the witnesses were going to say. But what's one of the wildest things in my entire career is when we got all the investigative summaries and the reports, all the witnesses that were in the room corroborated Coach Miller's story that the student was aggressive and hit him first. And so when we got all the evidence, we were like, why are we here? There's literally a sentence in the report that says, none of the eyewitnesses interviewed witnessed any misconduct by Coach Miller. So why are we here? That's their own evidence. And so, the thing that's crazy about this that makes it more important than Coach Miller is, what are they saying to teachers in our schools? That when you get called on to make the hardest decision of your career by putting yourself potentially in between a loaded gun and in front of a loaded gun, and then you get attacked, and then you get hung out to dry, what is that telling to the next teacher, y'all? How are we going to keep our kids safe if the men and women that keep our kids safe get railroaded when they defend themselves? I know, there's a pervasive idea that teachers have no right to self-defense. It's just not true. Everyone has a right to self-defense. That's the law. That is the official code of Georgia, OCGA 16321. And there's also a part of that law that says any rule, policy, or regulation of any other subdivision of the state, including school districts, any rule that tries to take that right to self-defense away is null and void. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to negate Coach Miller's clear self-defense. And we all know how dangerous schools are. There was just a stabbing at Creekside High School 4 days ago. A student stabbed somebody. Are we going to pretend like danger doesn't exist in schools? And are we going to stand up for teachers who get attacked? I want to know. I think it's important for everybody, and that's why I've been talking so passionately about this. That's why I love Coach Miller. That's why I think it's more important than just him. And I think that I really appreciate your opportunity to let me speak about this. I know you want to hear from Coach, and I know I've been talking for a little bit. So
that's fine, because one of the things that when we see things on the news, we form an opinion based on what the news is saying, but we don't know the backdrop of everything. Of course, we've seen the full video of the incident that took place at the school on that day. And I, like you, and of course Bishop Lacker, we both feel the same way. When does a teacher like Coach Miller, and who cares about the kids, who protected the kids, other kids from harm and danger, and we can go all the way back to Columbine when the first thing that came out, kids coming to shoot up and kill the school. So we can go back to incidents, and I'm going to show another incident after an interview with Coach of another school where we had a custodian who had to restrain a kid who had shot and killed one kid and had wounded other kids. So this thing about the teachers not being able to protect themselves is ludicrous with Fulton County school system. And so we understand and we appreciate you for taking this case and your interest in it. And of course, if anybody got a kid in school, and when schools is supposed to be the safest place that a kid can go to and come to school and get their education and then come back home safe and sound, and teachers have no rights. We're going too far to the left, too far to the left. So thank you, Alan. But I do want to hear Coach's side. And Coach, if you would just tell us, how you feel about, what's happening to you as a professional and as a teacher. Coach Miller? Morning.
Yes, sir. Good. And I appreciate you guys having us on again. And, just as an educator, of 24 years, I've seen a lot. And, I've seen the good and the bad. And mainly, I've always tried to focus in on the good. However, this is, one of those isolated situations where you really, really have to look at the extenuating circumstances of that day. You have to look at all things considered. You have to look at the fact that no one wants to be hit, slapped, anything. And it all falls down. Everybody wants to make it home safe from school every day. No matter how many goes every day. When I go to work, is to make it home to my family and to make sure that we have a safe school environment where the kids can learn. You want to make it enticing. You want to entice the kids to come to school by letting them know that it's going to be safe. So, those pretty much my feelings wrapped up in a nutshell as it relates to a professional being able to self-defend. No way we should allow anybody to be able to harm us at the time. Yeah, that's it.
Well, let me ask you one other question, though. How do you feel about the lack of support from the school board, the administration, in terms of you doing your job, doing what you felt was the right thing to do as a professional? How do you feel now having to, after 24 years in the school system, and have look like the lack of support and being attacked for doing what you did and you felt was the right thing to do? How do you feel about that?
I honestly feel a little, I won't say betrayed, but I just feel like everybody who, the people who, a lot of times, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong here, but in my opinion, a lot of times, the people who make the decisions, they are not necessarily in the trenches. So, well, I think, let me tell you where I think this is, and I think what really you can talk about is how sad it is, because you can tell the people who are listening about who you are at Tri-Cities and what that place means to you, how you're an alum. But here's what and I'll just jump right back out, but there's a pervasive attitude that you cannot touch a student no matter what. And that seems to be brought on at the high-level decision-maker level of the district, and it seems to be thinking like, you can't touch a student no matter what, and maybe it's because they're afraid of liability, maybe it's because they're afraid of the media. I don't want to speculate. I cannot tell you why it is, but I can tell you that Georgia law is completely the opposite. And there's a reason, by the way, that nobody arrested Coach Mayer, and that he suffered, and he has zero chance of criminal liability. If he had done something wrong, the officers were right there, y'all. They were right there. They arrested the student, and guess what? They charged her with a simple battery for what she did to Coach Mayer. But Coach, why don't you tell your listeners a little bit about who you are and why Tri-Cities is important to you? Okay. I am an alumni. Tri-Cities, I've been there for a while, former football coach, head football coach. And I'm from the community, invested in the community. Just a year ago, I love building relationships. How about that? I love building relationships. I love interacting with the kids. I love doing my best to meet them where they are. And, we fill in the gap along with myself, along with all of my other colleagues. Like, we fill in the gap in a lot of places. And, when you enjoy what you do and you're doing it from where you're vested, it means more.
I think Mr. Black has a question he wants to ask at this time.
Well, Coach, I want to just commend you on being a man in the schools. And I think that is a major problem we're having in our schools today. We don't have enough of a male presence. And then when we do have that male presence, the powers that be try to stifle our manhood. and when you look at that video and a student having the gall to swing on a teacher, to knock the phone out of a teacher's hand, I was just having a flashback when I was in school. Man, if I had swung on one of them men teachers, man, my head would have been pounded in a locker. And I'm not saying that would have been justified at the time, but that's what would have happened. They would have took us in the back in the day. They're going to take you to that locker room, and they're going to beat the fool out of you. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. And so you didn't do anything like that. All you did was defended yourself, made the room safe, got her away from that bag, and just looking at it, since that's where the gun was, she was so close to that bag until she could have easily reached for that bag and just caused a lot of harm on you and everyone else in that room. And so, man, I just want to say I commend you, and I commend you for just being a man in the school. You have a stellar reputation. I know several people who work at the school, and many who even drive buses for the school, and they've known you a long time. You have a stellar reputation, and so there are more people for you than are against you, because I'm sure right now you probably feel very alone. But I guarantee you, man, there are more people for you than are against you, and God is with you, and you're going to come out of this thing unscathed.
Amen. I receive that. I appreciate it, and God's going to get the glory from the whole thing here.
He really is.
As we close out on this interview, because I'll be showing another clip of what happened in Oregon at a school where a young man actually brought a gun to school, rifle, the rifle disengaged, but he had a pistol too, and then he shot and killed a kid who tried to disarm him of that gun, and then he killed wounded some other kids. So I mean, this whole issue in terms of guns in school, and this was a janitor who restrained this kid, not a teacher, but a janitor, because you guys are charged with responsibility to make sure that all kids are safe when they come to school, that all kids are educated when they come to school, and that all kids get back home to their families, as well as you as a teacher and other administrators and all get back home to their family. Coach, I want to commend you. I'm proud of you. I think that you did. I know that you did the right thing.
Absolutely.
And you saved many, many lives that day. People don't want to look at that point in terms of the administrators and those who are looking at this case. But obviously they saw something. They want to change it to a suspension versus a termination. But I wanted to encourage you to fight on, clear your name, because name clearing is very important when you have the kind of reputation that you have. So we're with you, we support you, and we wish you Godspeed. And anything that we can do to continue to help you, we will certainly do that.
Well, that actually ties in, this is Alan again, that ties into the last thing I wanted to say to y'all and also your supporters, because I know you have supporters in this community. It's so important that we don't forget about the bigger picture of Coach Miller's fight, and he is still fighting. We just filed our appeal of the 20-day suspension. Sadly, under the rules, we don't get to bring any evidence we don't get to bring any witnesses to this hearing. It is barely a hearing. It is a 30-minute oral argument. And then there's no appeal to the Fulton Board of Education or the State Board of Education. So it's kind of a process that they have created because they're a charter district, and we're challenging it on a bunch of bases, but we are still in the process. And I want to come back on either right before the oral argument that's yet to be scheduled or right after, and I want to get the message out that, like, this cannot be a story that just goes away, because our kids' lives are too important. And Fulton County, the school district, needs to understand that the community and ultimately their voters and their constituents care about supporting the men and women that are put in the situations of finding guns, that are having to protect the kids. And not just that, can't we just all agree that students can't hit teachers? And so, please, for anybody who feels motivated Jones, tag the school board, come show up at the next oral argument, come show up at the next board hearing. A student just stabbed somebody at Creekside High School. Like, let's get serious about the danger in our children, and the first thing that we do to get serious about it is we support the Coach Millers who protect them. Like, come on. Let's do it. And so I just appreciate y'all so much. I'll be in touch with you. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for y'all's support.
Bishop, I tell you, that was a great interview.
Yes.
A great interview with Coach Miller and his attorney, Alan Lightcamp. You know, in this society today, and all the stuff that's happening, and we see it with kids, schools, and I know you're involved in Creekside.
Yes.
Yeah, and you want to talk a little bit about that? Then
I mean, we just had a stabbing down there a few days ago, and
Sure.
it's just. I saw an interview or a lady about 3 or 4 years ago. She was doing a speech, and I can't remember her name. I've been trying to find it, but she said something so profound, Bishop. She said the problem we are having in the schools is the school board is afraid of the voters.
Right.
Superintendents, they're afraid of the school board.
Okay.
The teachers are afraid of the principals.
Right.
And then the kids, they are not
Afraid of anybody.
yeah. You know, and that's sort of where we are. And then when a situation like with Coach Miller, here he is, first of all, defending the safety of the school, but then as a person, as a man, he defended himself. That girl swung on him, knocked his phone out of his hand, hit him. And I mean, when did it get to a place on a school system where a teacher can't defend themselves, Bishop? I mean, where have we been?
Well,
man?
when we talk about our society today, where kids have more control over every situation than the adults.
Yeah.
So we got to look at and reevaluate what's really going on, because when you talk about church, school, home, church, school, those are the pillars of the community,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So now, here we see the school is out of control. You know, the kids run the school, right? The kids running the home. And thank God they ain't yet running the church.
No, they ain't running the church. But they might be running some folk church, but they ain't running temple. And I don't believe they running Liberty.
They ain't running Liberty. No, they ain't running Liberty. No, they ain't running Liberty. No, but I'm just saying is that when we look at what's going on in our society today, where is the morality? Where is the, people really coming back, going to the left? When are we going to come back to the right and deal with those issues that really, where kids are kids again, and they are minding their parents, they're respecting those people in authority? When are we going to get back to that? But we got this clip that's coming up, and I promised you we were going to show two sides of the coin. In Washington State, at this school, now we remember Columbine. That's when it first all started.
Yeah.
When the kid went and shot up everybody, shot up the whole school. Then it's a trend because nobody put a stop on that. They really didn't put a stop on that. So kids saw that. So then now they come with the school, we're being bullied, we're being this, we're being that. And so because we're being all these things, then now we can do whatever we want to do, right? So here you see this kid in Washington State who is going to go get a gun, go to school, shoot up and kill somebody, then wound others, and a janitor takes this kid down and then holds him until the officers get
and
there.
that's the beauty of having men in the school to help maintain some form of discipline. But I've just never understood how these people are doing nowadays. Let's see the clip, Bishop.
All righty.
Wednesday, investigators say Sharp brought an AR-15 rifle and pistol to Freeman High School. Court documents say he got the guns from his father's large gun safe located at their home.
The shooter may be on the second level, suspect and his team.
Investigators say the suspect went to the school's second-floor hallway and pulled out the rifle, which jammed. As he grabbed the handgun, 15-year-old Sam Strahan tried to intervene, but was shot twice and died. Authorities say the shooting spree came to an end when janitor Joe Bowen ordered Sharp to the ground and held him there until a deputy arrived.
Well, Bishop, see that story there tells the real story.
Yeah.
You know, as you were saying earlier, men in school, a man who's a janitor, not a teacher.
No.
Just a janitor. And janitors and dietitians and bus drivers, they all are part of the school system.
Yes, sir.
They all are part of the school system. But he saw the danger and he jumped in. And listen what he said. That he commanded the kid, the janitor did, to put his gun down. And he grabbed the kid and held the kid until the police got there.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I'm just saying, where are we going with this? And we see this as a trend that's with our kids. You know, you're putting resource officers in the school. The resource officers are not doing anything to stop the killing or stop the harming of our kids. Where is our Fulton County school board members, and where are they engaged in this kind of issues in protecting our kids? Where are they? You know, and we got election coming up. And in terms of these school boards, we got election coming up. And we got to make sure, and people don't pay attention to school board. You and I both know, and other folks don't know, and some people do know, but they just don't. They want to jump on the commissioners, they want to jump on the council people, the mayors and stuff like that. We pay more tax dollars to the schools.
Yes, sir.
And we have the less voice in the school system. You've been to a Fulton County School Board meeting. I've been to many of them, right?
Yes, sir.
They will let 3 people make comments, 3. Then they will not add the comments at their school board meeting on their TV channel. They will add the board meeting, but they won't add the comments from parents or people that are concerned. So people who are watching they think ain't nobody got no concern about that. But there are people there who have concerns, but they will not even add the concerns of those individuals who come to talk about the problems in the school system.
Yes.
I mean, that needs to be addressed too. I mean, there are a lot of things that need to be addressed, but that needs to be addressed because we're spending all our tax dollars in the school board, with the school board, and we have less voice in the school. Where we have the greatest interest is the future, our kids. The kids are the future.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost, it's a form, and it might be a little stretch, but it's almost like a taxation without proper representation. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And one of the things I did admire about that clip we saw, the superintendent and the administration there in Washington State, they stood behind the worker that brought calm to a situation.
They did.
But here
they call him a hero.
Yeah,
he's a hero.
In Fulton, we got Coach Miller who prevented killings. Prevented shootings.
Yep.
And
they fired him.
And then he had to get a lawyer. They brought him back and still talking about suspending him. It's just crazy, man.
It is crazy.
When he saved the day, we don't know how many lives his actions potentially saved on that day. And he's being penalized for bringing resolve to a situation where there was no gunfire, no lives lost. And also, as we learned, you know, he wasn't arrested.
He wasn't.
Because he didn't do anything wrong. The girl was arrested.
Right.
He wasn't arrested.
Right.
But he's being penalized. It's just crazy to me, Bishop.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
It really is.
I mean, it's just ludicrous. It's ludicrous that we do not support good behavior. We support bad behavior.
Yes.
And that's with parents. That's with, I mean, just across the board. I mean, even with this foolishness with the legislators, I mean, with the Congress, they supporting bad behavior.
Yes.
You know, I mean, when are we going to stop supporting bad behavior? And when people are doing the things that are right, and not supporting them, you
Yes.
know. So this world is, you know, only thing I can say is, Bishop, we need to be mindful, we need to be prayerful, and we need to make sure that we, as a people, we're paying attention to what's going on, and we get vocal about what's going on.
Yeah.
Talking around the water cooler is one thing.
Yeah.
But when it's time to show up for the showdown, you need to show up. He said that people need to come to the appeal hearing. We need to show up.
Absolutely.
And if you don't show up, you need to write letters to the school board.
Yes.
That's another thing you can do. Write letters to the school board. Email the school, the superintendent. Flood his email. Flood out. And I'll tell you who you need to flood out email, and we'll make sure we put it up. Flood out Kim Dove's email.
Yes.
Flood out Gail Dean, who represents that school, or both
Yes.
of them. They flood out their emails. Let them know how you feel about it. Flood out the superintendent's email. We'll make sure we get those email addresses
Superintendent
up.
Looney.
Yeah. We need to do that. And those school board members on the north side too. We need to flood it out. I guarantee you, I just about guarantee you, if that had been a teacher on the north side and that had happened, he or she would not be facing suspension, or he or she would not be facing termination. They would not be facing, because the parents on the north end would be praising him for, he or she, for saving their kids' lives.
Yes.
Saving our kids' lives. Where are the parents here at Tri-City School? Where are the parents who are saying, we praise the coach for what he did. He did what was right.
Yes.
And the parents need to be showing up. We need to have the political people showing up. We need
Yes.
to have everybody showing up, speaking, the preachers, the clergy. We need to be standing with this teacher, because what are you saying to the other teachers?
Absolutely. And once this thing is cleared, they need to put him back at
Tri-City.
Tri-City.
Absolutely.
I mean, because that's his domain. That's where he is served for, what, 24 years, I believe is what he said?
He said he's been with the school system 24
Okay.
years, but we don't know how long
How
he's
long
been in Tri-City.
but I know he's been there a while.
He's been there a
and
while.
he has a stellar reputation. And so he just needs to go back there so that he can serve. He really does. He really does. Yeah.
Well, we thank you so much. Today, we didn't talk about Shanan, what Shanan is. Shanan is, you know, he's somewhere doing something. You know, Shanan is trying to be all things to all people in all ways.
Man, that Shanan is a good man.
Yeah, well, he may be a good man. He may be a good man. I'm not saying he's not a good man.
No,
I'm just saying
we can't talk about Shanan like that.
Well, so you want to always defend him. You want to come, but you always want to come to his defense. You'll even fudge one for him. But we ain't fudging today. We ain't fudging today. No, he's actually really out, you know, doing some things. I said last week, he's involved in a lot of different things right now, and he's trying to work on some things. But he's still here, and he's still on the program. He told me, you know, he said, tell Bishop. Well, he told you yesterday.
Yeah.
He said, tell the folks I'm still in contract negotiation. I said, he is not in no contract negotiation.
Well, I mean, I'm all I can say is I'm just glad to be here, and you're tuned in tonight to Straight Talk with Bishop Aaron B. Lackey, and what's your name, man?
You know what? He may never be back.
I may never be back.
It'd be like, you know, when you go preach at a church.
Yeah,
right? You preach
They
at a church.
take over.
Yeah, you're preaching at the church, and so after you get through preaching, the pastor say to me, "You won't be back."
That's right.
You won't be. No, Bishop, you know, he's a stand-in. He comes in from time to time when Shannon's not to be here. But, you know, we love Shanan. We really do. He's a great guy. A lot of information, and he's out gathering more information.
Yeah. He's a brilliant guy. You know, he really
Wait a
is.
minute, hold for a minute.
Yes.
Hold for a minute. His head is already big as Georgia. Don't make it big. As though the United States okay. But he's knowledgeable about a lot of things, and we do love him. We really do love him. Miss C crazy about him, but it's me who Miss C give me the grief. But anyway, we appreciate you for watching today's Straight Talk. Didn't have Black History Facts today, and of course, Brother Broom he's doing some things, and so he'll be back with us later on sometime with more Black History Facts. But Stay tuned to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shanan E. Jones, and thank Bishop Lackey for being with us today. And this ain't been nothing but what? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922@comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.